This conference
Chaturmukha
will now be recorded.
Samarambham Vagbhadacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam Ragadirogan Sadadanushaktan Asheshakaya Prasrutan Asheshan Aulsukyamoha Aradidan Jakhana Yopurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. So today we were planning to conclude the chapter. We have only a few more shlokas to finish in this Swedvidhi. And in our last session, we saw that situations, clinical situations where we can do Sweda Karmam effectively. And that is the shloka which is shown in the screen. Swasakasa pradishyaya hidhma vibandhishu स्वरभेदानिलव्याधि श्लेष्मामस्तम्भगौरवे अङ्गमर्द कड़ीपार्श्वपृष्ठकुक्षिहनुग्रहे महत्त्वे मुष्कयोः घल्याम् आयामे वादकण्डके मूत्रकृच्छ्र अर्बुदग्रन्थि शुक्राघादाढ्यमारुते स्वेदं यथायथं कुर्याद् तदौषध vibhagatah. This is what we saw in our last session. Then, after explaining this standard version of the so-called Sweda Vidhi or Sweda Karma, Acharya goes to some sort of a modified version of Sweda Kriya, which is known as Anagneya Swedam. That is what we find in the next Karika. Svedo hidastvanagneo vade medakabhavrute. So it is a specific statement. Svedo hidastvanagneo vade medakabhavrute. Medakabhavrute vade anagneyaha svedaha hitaha. That is what the line tells us. Medakabhavrute vate. So this is not in ordinary vayu, but Medakabhavrute vate. Medakabhavrute vate. Very specific. Anagneyaha svedaha hitaha. Anagneyaha svedaha hitaha. That is the description. So here we find anagneya swedam. Anagneyam means a situation where no agni is used. Anagneyam. So we have seen that the most important guna which is responsible for Svedana karma is Ushna. And that Ushna guna is a basic attribute of Agni. So that makes this Sweda karma so special, because here it is Anagneya, Anagneyaha Svedaha. So what type of Sweda is that? That is going to be described in the next two lines. What is that? Nivadam griham ayasaha. Nivadam griham ayasaha. Guru pravaranam bhayam. Guru pravaranam bhayam. Upanaha ahava krodha. Upanaha ahava krodha. Then Bhuripanam Kshudatapah Bhuripanam Kshudatapah. Kshudatapah. Kshuda Atapah. So we find certain names here. We will see what these names represent. Nivadam Grihaha. Nivadam Grihaha. A closed building without the windows or the windows closed. So, keeping an individual in such a room or such a building, there is no direct application of Agni, but in no time the person will start sweating. So, that is a type of Anagneya Swedam. Anagneya Swedam. Nivadam Grihaha. Nivadam Griham. Not Grihaha, Nivadam Griham. Then Ayasaha. Ayasaha. Ayasaha Vyayama. Ayasaha Vyayama. So once you start doing Vyayamam, there is no direct contact with any Agni. So it is Anagni, but still you will start sweating. You will start sweating. So that is also a Anagneya Swedakriya. Anagneya Swedakriya. Ayasaha. Then Guru Pravaranam. Guru Pravaranam. Pravaranam is a sort of blanket type of cover, covering the body with a Guru Pravaranam, thick blanket. Guruda here indicates sort of thickness. So a thick blanket as made with the wool, with that the individual is covered, the body is covered. Then in no time, even though there is no direct Agni Sambarkam, the person starts sweating. So that is also a type of Anagneya Swedam. Then Bhayam. Bhayam. So once the individual goes through the emotion of bhayam, fear, that may cause Svedana. So here also there is no Agni Sambarkam, but there is Svedanam. So it is Anagneya Svedam. Then Upanaham. Upanaham is actually two types. It is two types. One is where it is the entire material is heated. So when the material is heated, there is presence of Agni in the heated material. So that is some sort of a Agneya Upanaham. But when that sort of a heating is not done, then it is an Anagneya Upanaham. That Anagneya Upanaham is what we are highlighting in this context. Upanaham. Then, so Nivadam Griham Ayasam Guru Pravaranam Bhayam. Then Upanaham Ahavam Krodham Bhuripanam Ksudha Atapaha. Upanaham is so Ahavam. Ahavam means Yuddham. Ahavam is some sort of a wrestling type of gusti type of yuddham. Niyuddha kushalai sardham, we find it in Ritucharya. So that sort of yuddham is known as Ahavam. Ahavaha. Then Krodha. Krodham. Krodham is Anagneyam, even though the person is getting heated, sometimes the word heat is used as such to represent krodham. So here, krodham is the heat generated by the anger. So there is no direct samparkam, contact with any source of heat, but still there is swedanam. So that is krodham. Bhuripanam. Bhuripanam means excessive madhyapanam. Bhuripanam. Excessive madhyapanam. Again, there is no direct contact with an Agni Srotas, but still there is Swedanam. So that is Bhuripanam. Then Ksudha is hunger. Kshut. So that can cause when there is Kshut attacks, then it will end up in Swedanam. Atapam. Atapam is sunshine. Atapam also causes sweating, Swedanam. So these material, these tools or these techniques are known as Anagneya Svedam, and generally they are beneficial in Medakabhavrute Vade. In Sangraham, we will find some sort of a extra specifications regarding this techniques, some sort of a additional descriptions. What is that? Anagneyam punaha medakabhavrute vayau nivada sadana guru pravarana bahumadhyapana vyayama kshutatapa niyuddha adhva bharabharana amarsha bhayaihi. So we find a few more techniques here. Of course, the idea is same. So we here find Nivada Sadana, that is Nivadam Graham. Guru Pravarana, same. Bahumadhyapana, Vyayamam, Ayasam. Kshudatapa, it is repeated as such. Niyuddha Ahavam. Adhvam is walking long distances. Bharabharanam can be accommodated in Ayasam. So that is also told. Amarsha, Bhaya, Amarsham and Bhayam. Amarsham, Bhayam. So Amarsham is the word used, not Krodham, Amarsham. Then regarding the Upanaham, there is some special mentioning. What is that? Upanaham cha Pittanvaye Purvoktenaiva Vidhina Agnirehitam iti. So whatever we have seen earlier regarding the description of Upanaham, the same thing. But so Purvoktenaiva Vidhina Agnirehitam iti. Agnirehitam. Without that element of heating the substance, without that element of heating the substance, everything is the same. Purvoktenaiva vidhina upanahaha, where that is also specified. Pittanvaye, that is very, very important. Pittanvaye. So, when there is Pittanvayam, regarding the Agneya type of Upanaham, we saw that Upanaham Anile, whereas Anagneya type of Upanaham is specified where there is pittanvayam. Where is the pitta anvayam? Pitta anvayam means attachment of pitta. So the pradhana dosha is not pitta, but there is association of pitta. To what situation? Medakabhavrute vate. So medakabhavrute pittanvaye vade or vayu पूर्वोक्तेनैव विधिना अग्निरहितम् उपनाहम्. Agnirehitam upanaham. So, suppose there are clinical situations where you find some sort of a necessity of doing some svedana. Medakabhavrita vayu. Suppose it is a particular situation of prameha. Pramehi is otherwise asvedya. We have seen it in our last session. Generally, it is we should not go for this Swedanam, but a Pramehi in whom that Swedanam is essential. That clinical situation demands Swedanam, but it is Asvedya condition, so it is a Medakabhavrita avastha. And in Prameha, in general, at particular stage, there is Pittanvayam. So what can you do? You can go for an Anagneya Upanaham. So it will not create any major adverse effects as it can make if you go for a proper Swedanam. But at the same time, all the advantages of the Swedanam can be enjoyed. All the advantages can be enjoyed without the risk of adverse effects. So this Anagneya Upanaham Pittanvaye Purvoktenaiva Vidhina Agnirehitam iti. So that is a special mentioning in Ashtanga Sangraha. Then back in Ashtanga Hridayam we find the sort of advantages of doing Svedana Karma, or what gives the importance to the Svedana Karma. What is that? That last shloka in Ashtanga Hridayam. What is that? Sneha klinna koshtaga dhadugava srodolina ye cha shaghasthi samsthaha doshaha स्वेदैः ते द्रवीकृत्य कोष्ठं नीताः सम्यक् शुद्धिभिर्निर्ह्रियन्ते. सम्यक् शुद्धिभिर्निर्ह्रियन्ते. So we will see this explanation or this the meaning of these four lines. What do they say? Sneha klinnaha koshthagaha dhadugaha va ye doshaha. Then description is not completed. Few more visheshana. What is that? Srodolinaha cha ye doshaha. Not completed. Shaghasthi samsthaha cha ye doshaha. Ye doshaha sneha klinnaha. So that sneha klinna is a common note. Ye doshaha sneha klinnaha koштagaha dhadugaha srodolinaha shakha asthi samsthaha va te svedaihi dravikritya. Svedaihi, it is used in Bahuvajanam. So sometimes you may require more than two types of Svedana employed in this purpose in according to the condition. You cannot expect just one act or one method of Svedanam effective for all types of this Roga Marga. So we find Svedaihi. Again, one sitting of Sveda may not be sufficient. You may require 3 or 4 sittings or 5, 6 or 7 sittings of Svedanam. So that is again one reason for which the Bahuvajanam is used. Doshaha, ye doshaha te Svedaihi द्रवीकृत्य कोष्ठं नीताः स्वेदैः द्रवीकृत्य कोष्ठं नीताः सम्यग् शुद्धिभिः निर्ह्रियन्ते शुद्धिभिः सम्यग् निर्ह्रियन्ते शुद्धिभिः शोधनचिकित्सा विधिभिः शोधनचिकित्सा पञ्चशोधनम् सम्यग् निर्ह्रियन्ते properly get nirharanam is happening. Nirharanam indicates the shodhanam. Bahir nirasya, so there is a sort of throwing out. That is why the nirharanam. So what is the meaning all over? What does it say? Koshtagaha धादुगाः श्रोदोलीनाः शाखास्थिसंस्थाः वा ये दोषाः ते स्नेहक्लिन्नाः स्वेदैः द्रवीकृत्य कोष्ठं नीताः शुद्धिभिः सम्यग् निर्ह्रियन्ते. This is the meaning. So let it be Koshtaga, Koshtasthitaha. Let it be Dhadugaha. Dhadugaha means the Bahyaroga Marga Sthitaha. Shakhasthi Samsthaha, those which are in the Madhyamaroga Marga. Then Shakha is also included. Asthi Samsthaha. Actually, that names are used a little bit in a careless manner because Asthi is not coming under the Madhyama Roga Marga. Actually, it is the Sandhi which is coming in the Madhyama Roga Marga, not Asthi. So, Shakha Asthi Samsthaha should represent the Madhyama Roga Marga, but unfortunately, they are not very specific. That usage is not very specific. Then Srodolinaha, those which are Lina Sthita, Linaha, where in Srodas, Srodolinaha, then Te doshaha, ye doshaha, te Snehaklinnaha. After the process of Snehavanam, they become Klinnam. Snehaklinnaha. Then what next? Svedaihi dravikritya koshtam nidaha. Svedaihi by means of Sweda, what is happening? Dravikritya, Dravikaranam. These doshas which are situated in various Shrogamargas or Srodas, they first undergo Kledanam, then Dravikaranam, then what happens? Koshtam Nidaha. Koshtam Nidaha, drawn towards the Koshtha, driven towards the Koshtha and reaching the Koshtha. Samyag nirhriyande, samyag properly, as it is to be, properly nirhriyande, get evacuated. How? Shuddhibhihi, panchakarmabhihi. So whichever among the panchakarmas are required, either all or as required, is going to facilitate the shodhanam. So shuddhibhihi nirhriyande, shuddhibhihi nirhriyande. In Ashtanga Sangraham, we find one more explanation in this regard, which is more about the Sweda Prayojanam. This is not Sweda Prayojanam, this is more about the contextual explanation of the Sweda in Panchakarma. What is the role of Swedanam in Panchakarma? That is what we saw in this Snehaklinna, Koshtaga, Dhaduga, Va, etc. etc. shloka. Now in Sangraham we find, what is that? Agnerdeeptim Mardavam Tvakprasadam Bhakta Shraddham Srodasam Nirmalatvam Kuryal Svedo Jadyatandrapaharam Stabdhan Sandhin Cheshtayatyashutasya Cheshtayatyashuchasya. So that is a Sweda Prayojana Vivaranam. What is that? Agner Deeptim. So Svedaha Agni Deeptim. Agnehe Deepti Agni Deepti. Svedaha Agni Deeptim Kuryad. Then Mardavam Kuryad. Mridutvam. Twang Mridutvam. Twak Prasadam Kuryad. Twak Prasadam. Then Bhakta Shraddham. Shraddha in Bhaktam. That means the desire to take food. That is Bhakta Shraddha. Bhakta Shraddham Srodasam Nirmalatvam. Srodasam Nirmalatvam. Srodas will have certain amount of sneha in the form of mala, making some sort of an upalepa in the srotas, which in due course of time may develop into some sort of a rodham or pratichayam type of sampraptis. So that can be removed with Swedanam. So we find Srodasam Nirmalatvam. Then Kuryad Svedaha Jadyatandrapaharam. Jadyatandrapaharam Kuryad. Jadyatandrapaharam. Apaharam, to remove, to avoid that sort of Jadyam Tandra. Jadyam and Tandra. Jadya Tandra Apaharam. Apaharam, it distracts. Then Stabdhan Sandhin Cheshtayatyasu Chasya. Stabdhan Sandhin. Asya Stabdhan Sandhin Ashu Cheshtayadi Cha. As far as that individual who is going or attending the Svedana Kriya, asya stabdhan sandhin ashu cheshtayadi. Cheshtayadi makes functional. Cheshtakaranam. Cheshtayadi makes functional. Where is this work? This is happening? Stabdhan sandhin cheshtayadi. Sandhin, in sandhi. What is the problem with the sandhi? Stabdhan sandhin, those which were stabdham. Stabdham is sort of a resistance to operate. is called stambham. Whatever the operation type is, in general, stambham represents the resistance to operate. So here it is sandhi. So sandhi pravritti rodham. That is stabdhan sandhin cheshtayadi. That clears such a type of stambham. That is the advantage. Then, so with those lines, I think we get a better picture about what are the advantages of or the prayojana, Sweda prayojanam. Agner Diptim Mardavam Tokprasadam Bhakta Shraddham Srodasam Nirmalatvam Kuryad Swedo Jadya Tandrapaharam Stabdhan Sandhin Cheshtayatyasu Chasya. With that, we complete our Sweda Vidhi. Iti वैद्यपदी सिंहगुप्तसूनु श्रीमद्वाग्भट विरचितायाम् अष्टांगहृदय संहितायां सूत्रस्थाने स्वेदविधिर्नाम सप्तदशो अध्यायः. So whatever some 18-20 minutes we will get, we can use for some experience sharing or concern sharing, expectation sharing type of activities. Nilesh, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then if we have something to discuss, we will do that. Otherwise, I think it is not very there are too many, only some 15-20 minutes, less than 20 minutes we have. So we can wind up a little bit early, no problem.
Yes, sir. If there are any queries, we can take. Otherwise, we can wind up. Sir, there is a query popping up. In what conditions does Pindasveda like Kolakulatyadikiri in Dhanyamla works?
Okay, okay. In what or which all conditions Pindasveda like Kolakulathadi Churna Pindam dipped in Dhanyamlam. So as far as Sveda Kriya is concerned, it has evolved a lot from whatever is explained in its classical mode. It has evolved to a huge extent. The Vaidyas in the traditional style of Chikitsa used Sveda Kriya in n number of ways. Ultimately, all of them were doing the karma of Svedana, but there were many mixes and matches. Here in this given example, Kolakulathadi Churnam. Kolakulathadi Churnam is something like a Nadisnigdham Nadiruksham type of dravya. It is neither very ruksha nor very Snigdha. Fundamentally, it is a churna, but it contains the powdered seeds, which contains oil, taila bhalam. So once you start heating it, this taila bhala gives some amount of taila from it, various types of taila bhalas. So you can't consider it as a ruksha swedam, but fundamentally it is a sweda ruksha is a churna kalpana and no oil added in it. So it is a that way we may think that it is a ruksha swedana. So kolakulathadi churnam is a intermediary between the ruksha and the sneha zones. And interestingly, this practice, what is there in the question, is an evolved method of some Vriddha Vaidya. They used to make this Dhanyamla, sorry, the Kolagulathadi Pindam, Kolagulathadi Churna Pindam, and they used to dip this in boiling Dhanyamlam and then do the Svedana, as if we are doing some sort of a Pinda Sveda, which comes under the Tapasvedam or Ushmasvedam type of things. But here, as this Dravam is used, it comes under a sort of Ushmasvedam. Under the classical Dravasvedam, we have two things. One is about the Avagaham, and the second one is Segam. Here it is not Segam, but neither Segam nor Avagaham, but a Dravam is used. So practically what is happening, that Pindam is cooked. Literally it is getting cooked in the Dravam, which is Dhanyamlam here, which is not a very Snigdha in its Rupa, but neither very Ruksha also. It is an Amlam basically, which has some Snigdha property. But basically it is not a very Snigdha Svedam like a Taila Kayasekam or something like that. So in that Dravam, this is dipped and then it is literally it is getting cooked. And then we use this Pindam for doing the Svedana. So it is a sort of Ushma Svedam. It is a sort of Ushma Svedam, but it is a modified version. In the Ushma Svedam, you are using some sort of a Ushma Bashpam for inducing the Svedanam. Here it is done as a Pinda Svedam, which is cooked in a Drava. So that's all. So the first person who might have started this might have thought about taking the advantage of Kolagulathadi Dravyas, not about that Kalpana, which is Churnam, but the Dravyas, which is readily available, but cooking it in Dhanyamla. For an imaginative mind, you can replace it with some other Kashayam as well. With some Dashamulam Kashayam or some with some Erandamulam Kashayam. You can use this Kolagulathadi Churna Pindam, dip in it in the boiling Kashayam and do the. So that will also become a Ushma Svedam, but there are some speciality because we are using this Kolakulatham as a Kolakulathadi Churnam as a specific Vadaharadravya which is getting cooked in the Drava which is used. That's all. There are many other similar types. There are Sweda Kriyas which is done with that Jambiram. Jambira Pindasvedam. Then there are Sveda Kriyas done with Kukkudandam. Then in certain conditions, the flesh of a peculiar type of fish is used. in the sort of what do you call the catfish or something like that, is used in Sweda Kriya for certain conditions of Vada, like this poliomyelitis. So there are many evolved types of Pindasvedas, especially Pindasvedas, which will come under that category of Ushma Sveda. Okay. And this one, as I mentioned, the condition is obviously it is Vada Samana, but it is specifically a Ushma type of Sweda Kriya. I hope it is clear. When there is Sandhigata Shulam as part of Sandhigata Vadam, things are done very commonly in our Kerala Vruddha Vaidyas. They were doing this Dhanyamla Yukta Kolagulathadi Churnabinda Svedam is done in this Sandhigata Vada Raktam. Similarly, in Vadadiga Vadashonidam, where that Dhamanyanguli Sandhinam Sangojaha Angagraha Adiluk type of vikaras are the main presentations. In all such conditions, this Kolagulathadi Churnapindasvedam with in Dhanyamlam is practiced. Hope it is clear.
Yes. Thank you, Prasad sir.
I just wanted to share one experience, sir.
Yes, sir. Please, Ashwin sir.
Sir, after this Snehapana Vidya Adhyaya, after going through that with your explanation, usually what I was for Kledanartha Snehapana, I was just going with the Snehapana, and that would take around 6 to 8 hours of time to get a Annakala. And maybe in 3 to 5 days or something like that, most of the times Snigdha, Masamhata, Mala, and other Sweda, Sneha, Lakshanas where I was getting. I was thinking that it is good enough to go for the Kledanartha Snehapana. But after the class of Snehapana and you with your explanation, I got that we have to reach a point where one dose in the last, at least we have to reach a point where we can go for Uttama Matra Snehapana. And I just tried in the next coming days, and that changed my application, and also the results are entirely, it is different, it is getting different, it is much better, and the results are very positive, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Ashwin, you are very much audible and loud, and I am very
Yes,
happy to hear this because
yes, sir.
Snehapanam is done more like actually the Vaidyas, they put minimum uh, intellectual effort into it. It is
Yes,
practiced more like a ritual. They
yes,
post
sir.
for Snehapanam. Sometimes they engage the therapist there, even without the
Yes,
involvement of a proper Vaidya. They
yes,
engage some therapist or some caretaker there. Okay, this man is posted for Snehavanam. Then the
mm.
therapist or the caretaker asks, when should we give Sneham? Offhand we make, okay, 6:30, you give at 6:30. What is what is
Yes,
the basis of the 6:30? Nobody knows.
yes,
Especially when large number of Snehapanas are conducted in the college hospitals, no care is taken at all. They simply post for, that is what we find in the case sheets. Posted for Snehapanam, 30 ml of Tiktaka Kritam, 6 p.m., 6 a.m. So it is a precast scheduling, and the real advantage of the Snehamanam is never explored or seriously looked into. It is more like a ritual.
It,
So I'm very
and also
happy
it
to
can
see
be,
that you
mm.
tried it in a proper way and you got better results.
Yes, sir. It entirely, I mean, the seriousness which, even though I was trying to be more correct and put my all my thinkings behind that and try to do it, but after listening and after trying to understand and going for a Uttama Matra, it needs a lot of calculation and also a lot of observation. And the patient also need to be very much. We have to put them under very strict. Lifestyle, everything became more, it becomes more proper application because it is body is undergoing a lot of challenges during this situation.
You are correct. You are correct. Your observations are perfect.
And also with the Sweda sir, during sometimes during the Snehapana or during the end of the Snehapana and after nearing to the Sweda time, and if at all untimely, if a woman gets the menstruation, then it becomes a very tricky situation. We cannot stop the procedure and we cannot continue the procedure also. In this type of situations, what I try to do, I mean, I usually ask them to go for this taking bath with kashayam, maybe 3-4 buckets of warm water bath, or just to make them sit in a like a nivata sadhana, like in a airtight room for maybe for half an hour or so. So this is something which I practice. I just wanted to share that the some modification. Still, the individual undergoes Svedana without compromising the Sveda situation.
Yes, yes, that is also an important observation. There are many such situations where we will be in some sort of a crossroad to turn or not. If yes, to which direction? All these things are quite puzzling clinical situations. So
Yes.
putting the basic principles into practice is the only way out in
Yes.
such challenging situations, no doubt.
I think, sir, if there are no more queries, with this note, we can call it for the day and meet in our next session, sir.
Fine, fine, fine. So in our next session, we will start with Vamana Virejana Vidhi. What is our
Yes, sir,
decision?
definitely. Definitely, sir.
Okay, okay,
We will
okay.
continue with
All right.
Sutrasthana.
Fine, fine, fine. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Shubharatri to all.
Thank you. Thank you, Prasad, sir. Thank you, everyone. Shubharatri.